Hobart Smith's Cuckoo. All right, this is a lesson on Hobart Smith's Cuckoo, rather an audacious undertaking, because when I had been playing for about a year, I got his Folk Legacy album, and his playing is just incredible. It just blew me away. And you know, it's kind of like when you're learning a foreign language and you learn to say, "How are you?" and you try it out on somebody, you say, "How are you?" and they answer, blah, 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 and it just goes over your head. So his playing was beautiful, but in terms of banjo playing, it was just totally incomprehensible. And over the years, I've listened to him a lot and I've tried to figure out what he's doing. So I'm not making any promises here that what I'm going to show you is exactly what he's playing, but it'll certainly get you in the ballpark. So I hope you have a lot of fun with it and good luck. All right, so the Cuckoo. It's in sawmill tuning. D, G, C, D, G. I'll give you that G. Okay, so it starts on this high part. And what I'm doing there is striking the third string and plucking off the first string. And then I think that's what he does at the beginning of the Folk Legacy recording, and then later on in the tune I think he's actually doing a brush like that. So brush, fifth string. But I'm going to stick with this pull-off thing for the rest of the lesson. So then there's a kind of alternate string hammer-on pull-off to the first string. And then that. First string, fifth string. So from the beginning. And then drop thumb. So from the beginning. And again. That last note actually becomes the first note when you repeat this phrase. You're going to repeat it twice the same, and then the third time it starts out the same and finishes differently. So you play. And then that last note becomes the first note of the next repetition. It kind of swallows back in on itself. Again. Now, so you've played that twice. The third time, you start out the same. And that's where it changes. From the top. Okay, then again, fourth phrase. So again, from the top of that phrase. And that end is some kind of M skip. I guess if you were playing the full figure, it would be something like that. And here you're playing. So again. All right, so this low part, now it has its own complexities because you're playing a very simple melody. You know, you're playing cuckoo bird, mighty fine bird, and then there's all this banjo stuff going on around it, which is what I call banjo noise, which is, you know, drop thumbs and hammer-ons and pull-offs, which are going around the melody. And really, you could fill that time with just about anything. If you're trying to get it to sound like Hobart Smith, you want it to sound a certain way, of course, but really almost anything would go there. So I'm going to play the melody simply and then show you what goes on around it. Cuckoo bird, mighty fine bird, oh she wobbles, there she flies. So you get the idea. Now, what I'm actually doing is cuckoo bird, mighty fine bird. So let me slow that down. So what that is, and then there's a kind of, I don't know, alternate string hammer-on M skip or something. See that? So cuckoo bird. And there, so you've got that drop thumb like in the high part, and also that alternate string pull-off, third string to the first string, like in the high part. Again. That twice. Cuckoo bird, mighty fine bird. And then it goes down. Oh, she wobbles, there she flies. And there you're into that pattern from the end of the high part. So from the top, cuckoo bird, mighty fine bird. Oh, she wobbles, she flies. So that's that. You're going to play that twice and then back into the high part. Now just something on these things like these alternate string hammer-on double, triple pull-offs and so on. You know, these are things that come about as you're trying to get it to sound a certain way. So, you know, Hobart Smith does a certain thing and then you're trying to reproduce that. And if you get all wrapped up in, you know, this is an alternate string double pull off, you know, on the third beat of the fifth bar and so on, you're just going to tie your mind in knots and your fingers in knots, and you won't. It'll make it almost impossible to play. I mean, even when I'm thinking about it, trying to figure out what I'm doing to teach it, sometimes I find myself tied up in knots trying to figure out what's going on. So my suggestion, the way I learn, is I listen hard to what's going on, to the recording, and I listen to it a lot, and I really get it in my mind, and then I try and get my fingers to do it. And, you know, fingers aren't always cooperative, and sometimes you kind of have to beat them into submission and get them to do certain things. But if you keep going over things, you'll work out a way of doing it, which isn't where you're thinking, I'm going to now do an alternate string pull off, you know, or whatever, and it just comes out a certain way. So back to that. I think I changed the end there a little. Let's go back to the words. Cuckoo bird, mighty fine bird. Oh, she wobbles as she flies. She never hollered cuckoo since the 4th of July. And so you do that last thing twice, and then it's back into the high part. So